Hi, I'm Mark Toll from Panasonic Lumix, and I'd like to talk to you today about my 7 favorite Panasonic Lumix G-Series lenses. Now, these fit all of our G-Series cameras. They're the Micro Four Thirds models, so they are all small and compact, and they range from wide angle to telephoto for every occasion. So let me take you through my favorites, and then at the end I'll show you some sample pictures that I've taken with each lens. I've always hated those shows and radio programs where they count down to their #1 song of the week or their #1 movie. I'm going to get right to the heart of it and save you some time here. My #1 favorite lens for the Panasonic Lumix G series is the 8 to 18 millimeter. Now, in full frame, or if you're older like I am, in 35 millimeter terms, this is a 16 to 36 millimeter lens. Now, the camera I'm shooting with, which is a Panasonic S5, has a full frame 16 to 35 on it. So it's the same equivalent. So you can see why I like this lens. I love the wide angle view. I love the fact that I'm stopped down to f9 in this case, that I get this extreme depth of field. I want everything to be in focus. Now, I can, this lens, if I do stop down to f4, it will give me a little bit of autofocus background, but anyway, so this is on my camera all the time whenever I go out to shoot. This is my go-to lens, the one I use the most. So stay tuned for the others. The next 2 lenses I want to talk about for the Panasonic Lumix G series camera are the 1 to 300 millimeter and the 45 to 200 millimeter. Now, as you can see, both of these are small, compact lenses. Now, remember, in 4/3, you multiply this number by 2. So this becomes a 2 to 600 millimeter, and this becomes a 90 to 400 millimeter. They both share lots of things in common. They both are dust and splash resistant. They both have image stabilization that works with the dual stabilization in our cameras. They're both reasonably priced. So you're not going to choose based on, let's say, a feature or one sharper than another. You're going to choose based on the type of photography that you do. Now, the 1 to 300 is best for people who do bird photography, animal photography, nature photography, things like that, because of that 600 millimeter equivalent range at the long end of the zoom. The 45 to 200 is great for people who also want to shoot portraits, they want to shoot family pictures. Starting at 100 millimeters, that 90 to 135 millimeters is perfect for portraits. So this lens, again, is also great for things like outdoors, for landscapes and things. Not as good for birds and animals. That's where the 1 to 300 comes in. So it's an easy choice to make depending on what kind of photography you do. So the next 2 lenses I want to talk about are what are called fast prime lenses. Prime lens means it's a single focal length, it's not a zoom, and fast means it has a low aperture like 1.7 or 1.8. Now, our most popular one, and a beauty, this lens is so sharp and it's so inexpensive, is the 25 millimeter f1.7. This is a 50 millimeter equivalent, so it's your basic walk-around street photography lens. It's just beautiful, it's sharp, and again, it's extremely inexpensive. It's the best lens to start with if you've bought a camera that has a zoom lens and that's all you've got now and you want something for low light photography. Now, my other favorite, the one I use the most, is the little 15 millimeter 1.7 Leica lens. Now, it's more expensive, so that's why the 25 millimeter is probably my most recommended. But the 15 millimeter is a true like a feeling lens. When you look in it, the contrast, the sharpness of this lens, and it's a little wider. So 15 gives you a 30 millimeter equivalent. You're still at 1.7. So both of these lenses are great choices for low light photography, or just because of their size, just general walk around street photography like I'm doing today here on Alberta Street in Portland. So if you're looking for one lens that'll do everything, that would be the Panasonic Lumix 14 to 140 millimeter. This is an extremely compact little lens that's the equivalent of a 28 to 280 millimeters. If you travel a lot, if you like to carry your camera everywhere you go and be able to cover every subject from street photography to wildlife at 280 millimeters, you can shoot birds, you can shoot nature, anything you want with this lens. It really covers everything. So this is the 14 to 140, very reasonably priced, image stabilization, dust and splash resistant, everything you expect in a Lumix lens in a very small package for a good price. Check it out at Horn Photo. Let's not forget about the Lumix line of full-frame cameras. This last lens I want to talk about is the one I've used to shoot every one of these videos. These videos were shot on a Lumix S5 full-frame camera using the 20 to 60 millimeter lens that is available as a kit lens with that camera. The reason I love this lens is I like wide angle, and 20 millimeters to me is perfect. I would actually like a little bit wider, but 20 is great, and 60 millimeters still lets me get a little bit of shallow depth of field, shoot people pictures, nature pictures, things like that if I want. So again, this is for our full frame line of cameras, so this is a true 20 to 60 millimeter. It is dust and splash resistant and fits any L series mount camera from Leica, Sigma, or Panasonic. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this series and it helps you choose a lens for your camera. Enjoy photography, and go to Horn Photo, tell them Mark sent you, and I'll see you next time. These images were all taken with the lenses that were shown in this video. So head down to Horn Photo in Fresno, tell them Mark sent you, and check out the full line of Lumix cameras and lenses.